All right, welcome back. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursaleen. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Two powerful truths based on Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'een. When we looked at Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'een, we talked about various interpretations. We looked at you alone we pray to, you alone we completely humble ourselves to, and you alone we obey and submit to. And then, of course, wa iyyaka nasta'een means you alone we seek help from. Now, there's something else going on here. This verse, which is verse number 5, it uses the plural we, not the singular. Why plural? Why not singular? It reminds us that we're part of the greatest ummah, the community of Islam. We should always stick together, pray together, help one another, come together. It's about we, not I. It's not about me, it's about the community. We are a community. We don't live in isolation. This strongly worded verse alludes to two great truths of Islam. The first great truth of Islam, and the most important truth, is La ilaha illallah. No God except Allah. La ilaha illallah. No God except Allah. How does this make sense? Can anyone guess? Can you guess how Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'een is alluding to or hinting at La ilaha illallah? How's that possible? What do you think? Because both are implying you only, no one else. This linguistic or rhetorical construction, Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'een, has the same rhetorical effect as La ilaha illallah, according to the Quranic commentators. At least some of them, they would mention this. This is called nothing, what's called al-hasr. There is something called al-hasr in Arabic language. You don't have to know this. Al-hasr implies you and only you, this and only this, no one but you. And this same idea of hasr you can see here as well as here. So the greatest truth has to be mentioned in the greatest surah, al-Fatihah. The second great truth upon which our entire life, our entire religion, our entire belief system is based off of is in this statement, which is mentioned in many ahadith, and part of it is in the Quran at least. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi. What does that mean? You must have heard this statement mentioned in hadith. You may have heard this mentioned by various scholars. You may have heard even everyday Muslim mention this. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. It means no motion. La hawl, no motion, no power except with Allah. This is also implied in Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'een. Can you guess how I can make a connection between La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah and Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'een? How is that connected? How are these two related? Both of this statement also has al-hasr, which means you and only you, you alone, no one else but you, this and only this alone. This idea is called al-hasr, and that's what you sense in both of these. In la ilaha la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah and Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'een. Also, if you look at this, the meaning of la hawla wa la quwwa, no motion, no power except with Allah. I cannot even move my hand. I cannot even blink my eyes. I cannot breathe. Every time a leaf falls from the tree, there's motion. Every time I blink my eyes, there is motion. My heart is beating. There's motion. There's movement. Who is doing all of that? Allah is the one. It's very, it inspires great awe in the heart. A great respectful fear of God is the one who is actually moving everything that is moving right now. The fish in the sea, the leaves that are falling, the eyes that are blinking, the breaths, the hearts that are beating, the blood that is flowing in our veins and arteries, the birds that are flying, all the motion of the stars and galaxies, the planets, as well as the motion of molecules and atoms, all motion is in the hands of Allah. It's in the power of Allah. Allah is the one who's doing it, and He's the one who has all power to move things. And this is why we ask Him alone, Iyaka nasta'een. You alone we ask for help, because we know you are the one who's truly moving and have the power to move anything. We've already talked about this one, so let me take that one out. This was just a review. This is also a quick review. All of this we've already talked about. How do these two verses allude to the most important thing in Islam, which is La ilaha illallah? And we just talked about that. So how do these two verses allude to the two great truths, La ilaha illallah? Well, one thing that I've mentioned is al-hasr. Al-hasr is when you're saying this is only this, nothing but this, or you alone. So both have the idea of Allah alone having the power and the motion, and Allah alone is the only God. Therefore, Iyaka nasta'in. That's why Iyaka, that's one of the wisdoms why Iyaka is repeated twice. Alhamdulillah. Now we have a quiz, and you can use this link to take the quiz. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursaleen. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een.